All right, guys, welcome back to the Adoptology podcast. Today, here we have my mom co-hosting with me. Say hi, Mom.
What's up? Hi.
Welcome to the podcast, Mom. Welcome back to the podcast. We did the last episode without you, but we're back on track, and let's get started.
What's up, son?
Okay, today's episode is about the words we carry. The words, we're here to break down the language of adoptions, where we break down on how you speak to adoptees or how you should speak in general when you're in an adoptive process or when you're in a relationship. There's words that can hurt and there's words that can build. From chosen to real mom to gotcha day, we're going to explore every word that shape identity and belonging and truth. So are you ready to dive into this, Mom?
I am ready. Are you ready, son?
So yes, I'm actually very ready. It's good to have you here.
Okay, good.
It's good to have you here, Christy.
Thank you, Baltazar.
Okay, so let's get started with this. Like I said, like the words we use. Okay, so let's start with. I get a lot of "you're lucky" or "giving up" or "real mom."
Mm-hmm.
When people speak to me or DM me on messages or when they watch my videos, is that your real mom or is that like you were so lucky that you were adopted by a family? But I remember being chosen. Like I mentioned before in a previous podcast, I remember being chosen, and giving up is a word that I used to identify my situation. But now the words I use is I was set up for an opportunity. I was set up in a path to be successful, to have better than my biological mom could offer. Both moms are my real moms. Let's just cut that out right there. Both moms are my real moms. And like the way those words mean to me affect me way differently because I know maybe it's just my personality or my character, but those words don't really mean a lot to me. But because I don't look at them in that way, I don't get lucky. When I see lucky, I get chosen. When I see giving up, I see set on a path. And when I hear real mom, is like I just see mom. Okay, like would you like to add on to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that word has really changed for me over the years is the word real mom. I remember, as when we first brought you home, people would say, well, is his real mom alive? And I remember at first thinking, wait, hold on, but I'm his real mom. But then wait a minute, hold on, I'm not, because it's really, I'm his adopted mom. Anyway, so yeah, that was a word that's really changed over the years for me since you've been home 11 years. So now I just think of, I am your mom. I like what you said. I am your real mom and your birth mom is your real mom. And mom is a mom. I don't think that mom has to be defined necessarily as the person who birthed you, right? Doesn't have to be the person necessarily that birthed you, right? But a mom is a mom. I am your mom, even though I didn't give birth to you. There's another word that you said too that has kind of changed for me is the word saved. Like you saved a child. That's so good of you. You saved a child. No, we didn't. Like we are in this together. Like, right? Like I didn't save you. Like you didn't save me. We're a family. Like we chose to be a family. And so some of those words, you saved a child. You're so lucky. No, I get those words. I get
Be
it.
grateful.
Those words have yeah, those words have changed a lot for me over the, past 11 years since we've been part of our family, our extended family, our new family, what it looks like differently with our family.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like words matter. And then in adoption, they can carry weight you don't even realize. So like I remember in the previous podcast, we talked about, trying to force your kid to feel gratitude. And that's like when you tell a kid to be grateful, especially when they come from a life where they had nothing or they've been given up, their family don't. It's like when you say those kind of words to them, they feel like, dang, did you really adopt me to make yourself feel better? You know what I'm saying? So there's a language, there's a system that you got to use to communicate with a child because words mean a lot to a child. Child brain is always working and they hang on to stuff way more. It doesn't matter whether it's a child or an adult. Words will hang and words will hurt. What's those saying, Mama? Sticks and stones may break my
Will break
bones.
your bones,
Yeah.
but words, they will hurt you.
They will hurt
right.
you.
Don't you think it's because like you as an adopted child? Well, for us, right? We already look different, so there's already that image out there. But don't you think that those words have power over you to make you already like you already maybe feel different, especially at the beginning of the adoption? Don't you think those words make it even harder for you to feel a little different? It makes it harder for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want that stereotype, right? It's like you are a child just like my other children are. It doesn't matter if I gave birth to you or not.
Yeah, it does not matter. It does not matter. Okay, so we're going to enter into our first segment right here. This is the origin story. Mom, would you like to talk about the language you learned early on as a hopeful adoptive parent, how you learned to communicate with me? Because you're still involved in the adoption process of a bunch of people. So the words you use to on me and the words you use to the adoptees or other people you're helping with the adoption processes and stuff.
Yeah, so I tried. I tried whenever I was early on the adoption process to really try to put myself in your shoes when we used words like rescue a child. No, we didn't rescue you. You came from a poor country. No, it's not a poor country. It's a country. So I tried to be very careful about putting myself in your shoes and how you would hear the words back. And I didn't want to put any sort of stigma on you as you're little. So as I was going through the adoption process, I was really careful about trying to pick those words. And if I felt like, oh gosh, I should have said that, then I learned from it and tried not to use that again, right? So say I saved you, rescued you, those kinds of words. I just have had to really kind of think about your perspective when those words come out of my mouth. That I don't want you to feel any different because of the words that I use. That was
Yeah.
very important to me, and I had to learn and work through that, right? Which words not to use, and I think we need to be careful about those words that we use so it doesn't
Yeah.
place anything on you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's real. Thank you for sharing that. And like right here, like when I hear the word abandoned, rescued, or even chosen, like let's break it down. So abandoned,
Okay.
like I said earlier, like I felt a bit that was used to be my identity for a long time before I realized what my Haitian mom was setting up. Like, and she wasn't able to provide to me. There's a lot of situations like that where the biological parent can't afford or can't provide a life for the kids. So they set them on a path where they will be successful. They find a family because they know they're not in the right place, not in the financially, whether it's mentally to support a child. Honestly, as bad as you think, that's a great thing. Like that's love right there. Like being able to
Mm,
think outside of yourself despite your trials and tribulations going on in your mind that, oh my gosh, I don't want to bring any hurt or any trouble to this kid. Let me put them in a position to feel better. And it's not always like that. Some people can be selfish. It's, oh, I just don't want the kid. But like the situation I was is like my Haitian mom wasn't able to provide for me, and she set me up on a path to have this life that I have right now, to be as healthy as I have right now, to have my skin glow as I have right now. And I talk to her and my brother
mhm.
daily, and our relationship is still great. And now instead of abandoning, I switched that to opportunity and then setting on a path. So like with the word rescued is like I never really thought of that because like I said, chosen. I was chosen. And if you really think about it, everybody's been chosen.
That's right.
So when you make a friend, like even if you guys just hit it off, you guys are choosing to be friends. You guys are
Mhm,
choosing to be in a relationship. So the word chosen is very special because you gotta
mhm.
choose. It's like the word want. You know what I'm saying? You want to do this. You want to do this. You want to be that. You want to be something great. You want to be make friends. That's what I think I think for me, the word need and the word want, or how do I say it? The way I compare it is I think the word want is way better than the word need. You know what I'm saying? Because when you
Okay.
need to do something, you don't have the energy. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, I gotta do it. I must do it. But when you want to do something, you give your all to it. And that's what I put the word chosen in, is they wanted me,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
I wanted to
mhm.
be a part of the family. So that's why I look at the word chosen.
Well, that's what I was gonna say because wanting goes both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We wanted you to be a part of our family, and we asked you, "Do you wanna be a part of our family?" And you said, "Yes, I
Yeah.
want to be a part of your family." And so that's
Hmm.
a language that we kinda set up at the beginning of your adoption is that we both wanted to do this, right? We both wanted to be a part of this what a new family for all of us looks like, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be a part of that. So, did you ever struggle? Did people ever tell you any words like that? Did you hear any words growing up like that? Like,
Yeah, oh yeah, like oh, you were giving up, you're abandoned. Like I'm like, like I never thought about it. Maybe it was just the love that I felt in the family. I never like those words never meant anything to me. But I know the reason why we're doing this podcast is because this is not about me.
yeah,
Like I know other
yeah.
people are experiencing it. I know other people those words hurt way more to them than it would do me because that's completely different situation, completely different life, completely different person, completely different mind. So that's why we're here to dive in.
Well,
So
then,
we're
hey, let's
gonna
recognize. Hold on,
yeah
let's recognize real fast though that that didn't happen overnight, did it?
no
No, that took years, right? It took
yeah
years for us to get years to get to where we are today, right? It didn't happen immediately, right? That took years of us building trust and love and learning and making mistakes and growing together. It just we didn't wake up and get to where we are today. It's a lot of work and talking through things to kind of get where we are today, right? I mean, you would agree with that.
yeah. Yeah, I can yeah, because like it took a lot of words. Keep in mind, Speaking of the words, there's a lot of words I had to learn. Keep in mind, I came here a whole
That's
different
true.
language. There's a lot of
Mhm.
words. I had to learn the English words of everything.
Well, can
It
I
was
tell them what you used to thought football was? You call it
what
foosball, foosball. Like, there's a lot
football.
of words you didn't know.
I never understand why y'all call football football. Y'all don't even use your feet that much, so like y'all just stealing from
Listen,
soccer.
I
But
don't
that's a
know.
whole different conversation for another time.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to, so in this podcast, like we're gonna explore the intention versus the impact, like how people mean well, but the words can still cut. You know what I'm saying? Like just like
Mhm,
when you're talking to a child and you're like, "Aren't you grateful that I adopted you?" That could mean two
mhm,
different things from the receiver and the giver of those words. So like you gotta like think about like you meant well by saying, "Oh, you could be grateful. Like like you're here now. You're a great life. Like we took you out of that trash." But like you meant well by those words. You meant well, but like they weren't received well. You know what I'm saying? They weren't
mhm.
received well. The child, the adopted, whatever stage of life they're in, it's like, so what does that mean? Do I owe you anything? Like my first impression, if everybody ever told me, aren't you grateful that I did that? That means like I'm in debt. Do I owe you something for that? Like, do you want something in return? Personally, that's how I
Mhm.
would take it. And I know a lot of adoptees out there would take it the same way. So like, that's why we're going to dive into the intention versus the impact of words. What do you want to say to that, Mom?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think that a lot of people, they don't mean ill will when they say that, right? They don't
Yeah.
it's not they don't intend to hurt an adopted child. It's not their intention. It's just maybe some education will be good to know as to how it could affect your feelings or how could it affect your mindset when you hear those words, right? I don't believe people have ill intentions when they say that, or shouldn't. Most of the time they don't. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're right, right? Just learning the intent of that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we're gonna move into the hard questions and real answers. Are y'all ready to rock it, bro?
Here we
All right,
go.
all right, Mom, you take this up.
Right. Wilson, what words did you used to say about your story that you don't say anymore?
I was abandoned. I was given up. I was left behind. My mom did not care about me. Those are the words I used to identify my story as growing up because like not a lot of people know my adoption story. This is gonna be a whole different podcast where I talk about it personally. But like when I first got dropped out of the orphanage, it felt like my mom was giving me up. It felt like I was being abandoned and it felt like she was never coming back and she didn't want to be a part of my life. You know what I'm saying? So that's what like I identify myself as like as lost, as not wanted. And those are the words I used to say when I didn't know the nature of my situation, when I didn't know my mom's side of the story, where I didn't know our struggles that we were going on. Like I knew we were struggling, but I didn't know what extent. You know what I'm saying? So those are the words I used to say that I don't say anymore.
Mhm.
So, Mom, did anyone ever correct your language early on, or were you just winging it?
I felt like I was winging it, even though we have a great adoption community around us. I really felt
Yeah,
like I was winging it. But I think two of the big words I've had to really work on to change is we rescued you, right? I just be
yeah,
really careful not to say that. And then I really struggled about the word real mom. What do I call your birth mom versus me? Do I call her your birth mom? So I just said your mom. I just call her your mom because she is honestly your mom. So I had to have enough confidence in me and in our relationship that I was okay with you calling her mom and me calling you mom. Like, hey, Wilson, don't forget today's Haitian Mother's Day. Don't forget to reach out and tell your mom happy Haitian Mother's Day. So I had to be secure enough that it's okay for you to call her and me mom. And then when I took you down there to see her, because I would take you down there to see your mom and all of your birth family, I was secure enough to know that I'm your mom and she's your mom. And I was okay when we went to your house to see her or when she came to the orphanage and the rest of your family to visit us. So some of that is me being secure enough going, It's okay. You have two moms and that if there's enough room in your heart to love her and me, and that's okay.
yeah. That's awesome. Thank you.
So I have a question, Wilson. Did anyone ever correct your language early on or were you just winging it?
Yeah, like I remember a story because the word we carry just doesn't always just mean the emotional words, the one that tie with with
Hmm.
feelings. Like it could be because like, I remember when I first got to America and I used to the word because this is a problem with like transracial adoption, especially from another country. Like the English words that we know are not always the best words. So like I remember one time I used to go around the whole house saying the word hell. And I used to say that loud as I could and I would say in a public setting. And I was just like saying anything that I saw in movies or heard, some other Americans. And I remember you guys had to sit down with me telling me, "Oh, that's not a good word. You shouldn't say that." I was using like languages that I did not understand or comprehend. So that's why
I didn't even remember you doing that. So that's
remember
funny.
that.
I
I
don't
remember you
remember
got
that, to
on you
be
got on me
honest.
so many times. Oh my god. Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay. Okay,
All right.
so how did you explain my adoption to other people when I was little?
Yeah. So, we set out on our first trip to Haiti with no intentions of adopting. And then I was helping with adoption matches, and I kept telling the orphanage director Pierre, I was like, "Oh, Wilson is such a cute kid. He doesn't have a match." And I remember Pierre said, "Oh, I think you should pray about that." And I'm like, "No, no, no. We're not called to adopt. We're just called here to serve and to help." And then I was like, well, maybe I should pray about that. And so then once we prayed about it, Dad and I prayed about it and said, "This is what we wanted to do." That's kind of the language I used was, "Hey, I didn't know we were just called to help. I thought we were called to help, but it turns out that I think God is calling us to adopt one of the little boys from the orphanage that we've been volunteering at." And that's kind of the language that I use. Like we really felt like God was calling us to adopt you. I wasn't sure how we're going to afford it. I didn't know how that was going to work, but that's kind of what I said. I said we fell in love with this little boy from the orphanage, and I think he's meant to be part of our family. And so that's kind of some of the language we use. And so when people ask, I would just be like, "Yeah, we fell in love with a little boy from Haiti, and we're gonna go for it. We're gonna adopt him." Wilson, was there ever a time that I said something about my story that surprised you?
Yes, actually, because over the years I've unpacked a lot of. You've told me a lot. You revealed to me a lot about the adoption process outside of Haiti as I grew up, as I was always waiting for it. And one thing that came a lot clearer to me is how much relationships that you lost, personal relationship that you lost, just wanting to adopt me, just starting the adoption process. And you lost so many friends, just relationships, just because they didn't agree with the transracial adoption. And I was like, okay, wow, that's insane. Cause like, I'm like, okay, I thought everybody wanted me here. You know what I'm saying? I thought everybody was on board with this. You know what I'm saying? But like, there were so many people who did not agree with it. And then it was just mind boggling to me.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy journey. It wasn't an easy journey as we had to navigate what that looked like, but you're worth it.
Yeah. I'm Big Dog Wilson. Okay. So
Okay.
what's a word or phrase in adoption culture you wish we could delete?
I think a word that I would like to delete from the adoption culture is saved a child. I think if
Mm,
we could delete that from our vocabulary, you saved a child. I think, like you said, how it makes you feel as an adopted child. No, I didn't save you, save or rescue. I wish that's a word that we could eliminate from our vocabulary is the word saved a child, rescued a child. Because I don't know, I just wish we could eliminate that word. I can't because I don't, because of how it potentially can make you feel, right? I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. So like this next one right here is how this is a question for the both of us. How do we
Okay.
teach people to be more thoughtful without shaming them? Do you want to take this one first?
Yeah, so I think not only with adoption, but any child or any relationship we have, I think whenever you're speaking to, especially an adopted child, put their lens on, right? Put the
Yeah.
lens on of that adopted child and what you may be thinking, what you may be feeling, how put yourself in your shoes, imagine yourself as a child living in Haiti, adopted, living in an orphanage, and then coming to America for the first time, having no idea what America's like. Put yourself in those shoes, right? Before you say those words out of your mouth. But not just adopted child, for anybody. When you're speaking to someone, put yourself in their shoes
Mm.
and look at, like, it's like you're putting glasses on, or like when you take like a selfie and you take a selfie, right? So look through those lens of that before you have a conversation, so that you think about, is it hurting their feelings? Am I going to offend them? And if you do, that's okay. Just say, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Does that offend you? I don't mean to. I want to try to be respectful." But I think it's important to put ourselves through their shoes. But what about you? What do you think? How do you think we can teach people to be more thoughtful without shaming children that are adopted?
Like I think I would have to agree with what you said, because like you got to think about this. Like when you're talking to somebody, imagine you're talking to yourself. Imagine you don't understand what you're saying. How would you break it down to yourself in a way you would understand it without putting yourself down? Because humans are inherently selfish. So like you would never say something to you to hurt yourself. So give people the same respect. So like when you're talking to a child, whoever they may be, think like you got to also look at facial expressions, because like read body language. Because like kids speak with their face. They speak with how they react to things. So like I would say, like you can see, because you can tell when somebody gets confused, and I would reword it. So me, I don't know, I've learned this over the years. It's like when somebody gets confused with what I'm saying, I reword it in a way they understand it until the confusion leaves their face. So speak to them like you would speak to yourself, and treat them like you would treat yourself. I know it is hard, especially with transracial adopted parents and adoptees, to really put yourself in that situation. At the end of the day, they're another human being. So
Mhm.
think of yourself as them and then talk to them
Mhm.
accordingly if you were in that situation. It's hard to do, but it's practice. Everything comes with practice and it's consistent practice. As long as you don't ever take a step back and only move forward, sure, there's gonna be mistakes, but you're gonna learn from it and you're gonna grow from it. That's the best way you can grow and and be thoughtful without feeling bad about anything that you've done in the past. Is learning. Like my mom said, she had to learn how to speak to me, and I had to learn how to speak and how not to say certain words. And it's just the same. Talk to yourself. Like
Mhm.
I would go as far to say rehearse to yourself in a mirror before you talk to your child. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever
Yeah,
it
well,
is
I
you're
wanna
speaking to.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
I
what's up?
wanna add to that too. I wanna add, like, let's just be honest, right? There's a high possibility when you're doing an adoption, whether it's even if it's foster care or international adoption, whatever, there's a high possibility that you're getting a child that comes from trauma,
Yeah,
right? That they've experienced some sort of trauma. So they're probably gonna have trauma, some trauma brain happening. So it's very important too that you're careful with your words because some of those words could trigger a trauma that
yeah,
you don't maybe you know or don't know. And also, we have to be sensitive because if we're still struggling with trauma, we may not hear what you're saying clearly. We may not they may not hear what you mean. And so that's why it's very careful that you kind of work through some of those words. So because there's trauma and you don't know, and if you know what the trauma is, you may not know what the trauma is. But always think that when you're talking to someone, especially and I hope it's okay for me to say this, but I know you've been through a lot of
yeah,
trauma therapy and we've worked through a whole lot. But even if you have, you still have to be aware of
yeah,
what you're speaking of. So I need to be careful too when I'm joking with you, right? I got to be careful. I need to be a little more sensitive joking with you than I may joke with your siblings just because of what you've been through that they haven't been through. So you kind of like I need to be careful about throwing out words that could bother you because of something that happened and in your childhood that maybe I was aware of or not aware of. So I think we do need to be sensitive about that when you're talking to a child, thinking through that and what they've been through.
yeah. That's real. Cause like I think I saw a post the other day. I think I reposted. I can't remember what it said. It's like don't make your trauma an excuse. Don't make your past trauma an excuse to be a terrible person. Like I said, I feel like as I grew up, you were more on that kind of mindset to be careful what you say to me. But now I've obviously now that I'm older, it's not the case like that anymore. With all the things I'm growing, I would say it's not guys, it's not the case like that anymore. But like you will know when your child or whatever situation you're in is ready to hear those words. Like I said, but like one thing I
That's
always
right.
say to myself and to other people is like I read this somewhere is people as you grow, you will understand more and you'll ask more questions. Like I always tell myself like or when I'm talking to somebody or I'm training somebody for like a social media thing, it's like you ask the question when you're ready to learn it. Or you hear the thing like when your child is like, oh,
Mhm.
when you imagine if your child doesn't know about a certain thing and they're confused about it. When they ask about it, that's when they're ready to receive it. You know what I'm saying? That's when the mind has gotten to a point where they're ready to comprehend the thing you're about to give to them. So that's how she spoke to me because I wasn't ready. She spoke to me in a way that I wasn't ready for. And then, as I grew up, where I started learning more, I started becoming more stronger with my mind and my will and learning who I am. And I was ready for a lot of the stuff. And I asked the right questions because I was ready to hear them. Like it will like you don't even it's not even something you have to practice, it's something that will come naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're ready to hear it, he'll ask. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Be
even our
very
even our joking has changed, right? Now
yeah,
sometimes we kind of joke about sometimes we can now because you're in a secure place and we're doing great. Sometimes I could
yeah,
even tease you or joke a little bit about something,
yeah,
in your past or in your trauma. And now we kind of laugh at it. I couldn't do that 10 years ago.
yeah,
I couldn't do that 10 years ago, but I can now. So there's a difference just like you said.
yeah.
Yeah. That was
So it's
good.
different. Okay.
Yeah.
We're about to enter into our closing reflection. We got three little things we're gonna touch base on, and then we're gonna be out of here, y'all. Okay, so this is an open floor. How language evolve as your understanding grow? I feel like we just answered this question. I'm not gonna say anything, but if you want to add on to that, you're more than welcome to.
I think that's great. I just think that just like you speak to a 2-year-old different than you do to a 16-year-old or a
Exactly.
20-year-old, I think that's the same thing you think through those lenses as well, right? When you're speaking to adopted child, is it a newer adoption? Has the child been through some therapy? Have you been in your family long enough? So it's the same thing that you don't speak to a newly adopted child the same way that I speak to you that you've been home, over 11 years. So same thing, right? You learn and grow and as you build bond, then you get to change some of that language, right? And again, every family is different. Every child is different. And you're going to have different times of growth, right? So some child may come and not have or they may have trauma, but they're completely fine and secure. But then other children may be a little more sensitive than other children. So you have to know your child, know what you can say and not say, and then let it evolve, over time. Just kind of like what you're talking about.
Yeah. So like to add on to that is to any adoptees out there who've just found out after living with their parents for 12, 10 years, whether you're transracial or you guys live the same. And you just found out you're adopted and they just told you, right? And or after you ask a question, oh, am I adopted? And they just told you. And you're like feeling betrayed and on like, oh my gosh, can't believe they just told me I'm adopted. It's going to be hard, but you got to ask a question is why did they wait so long? Because remember, it's not just your feelings involved, it's theirs too. Because they have to,
Mm-hmm.
like the person giving the information has to be ready to give the information. You know what I'm saying? Because you've been asking for years, maybe. But at the same time, are they ready to share? You got to look at that. Are they ready to share? Because like, imagine if they shared at that moment when you asked and they said something that completely destroyed your relationship because they didn't know how to word it. Because like it comes with time. Information comes with time and when you're ready for it. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading a book right now. We're listening to a book called The Lean Startup. It's about how teaching companies to grow the right way. And it's saying its biggest model is don't do too much too fast. Don't do too much that's not being asked of you. You know what I'm saying? So put something out there, the base model, and then when customers ask for it, that's when you start adding on. When you start getting feedback, like another example is like, imagine you go on Instagram, but you can't like videos and then you send a message to Instagram. That's when Instagram knows you're ready for that feature. So they're not going to spend a bunch of money, a bunch of time, a bunch of energy, a bunch of emotional stress, putting out a lot of products that you're not ready for until you ask for it. So that's why it's just crazy how those systems also work in relationships too. So that's why I think
Mm-hmm.
of it. Yeah. Okay, this next one is what words your family uses now that feel right? Yeah, I think you want to start on this one?
But yeah, one of the things that pops in my head is, our community, where we live and go to school. I love that they just know you're my son, right? So all people
Yeah.
come to me and say, "Your son, da da da." Da." I have to, which son? Which one? The white one or the black one? And they're like, "Oh, the black one," or "Oh, the white one." And I love now that we've built our community that they don't walk around, they don't come to me and say, "Oh, your adopted son." You're this. They say, your son, and I have to say, which one? So I love that we have built such a great,
Mm-hmm.
community of friends and people around us and family when they don't refer to you as anything different other than my son. Like your family, are your kid, or they'll say, "Are your kids coming home this weekend? What did your kids do?" They didn't say, "What did your birth children and your adopted son do this weekend?" Like
Yeah.
it's just your kids, your family, your son. And I like that. I like when people use that language because it is a family. We are a family. They don't need to refer to you as, "Oh, my adopted son." And I'm so thankful that our friends and family don't. They don't refer to you as that. So I think our language has just grown, is so natural now that it's, "Oh, what is your son doing? What is this?" And so I like that. I like that, how that's changed and evolved and grown over the years.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that you said that. We'll say hi, Max, Mama. Hey.
Hi.
All right. So, like, to add on to that, yeah, cause I think the only reason our community thinks and speak like that, yeah, Emily's in there. Yeah. The only reason our community speaks and behaves like that is because it started with us. So, like, another thing to add to that is like it has to start with your family, because humans, whether they know it or not, they're great at picking up social clues and they're great at ignoring them. So you gotta like the way you treat,
That's true.
the way we interact with each other is what people sees. And we're loud when we're interacting with each other. We're loud. Our energy is
Mm,
abundant. It's
mm,
big. It's loving. And when people see that, it's like, okay, this is a mother and son right there. You know what I'm saying? It transcends whatever color or whatever the difference they see because it's the energy
yeah.
we started. Like, because everything starts with us. And then it starts spreading out because it's our family
Mhm,
started with us. And then
mm,
other people getting the
mhm.
idea. Other people started seeing the love. Other people started seeing the communication. So that's how
No,
I
I agree
see
with
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that because I'd never referred to you as, "Oh, our adopted child. Oh, this." It
Yeah.
was, "Oh, my son. I gotta go see my son. Oh, that's my son playing football out there. Oh, that's one." You know what one of my favorite things was when we were playing football? I'd be seeing the stands and I'd say, "Which one is your son?" I'm like, "Oh, he's number whatever." And they'd go, "What?" I'm like, "I know." And I would just smile. Like,
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite. I love that. Like, "Which one is yours?" "That one." And then and then I wouldn't say anything else.
Yeah. And that's
So
all
I
you
think it's
ever need to
fun.
do.
Yeah, that number
That's it.
whatever, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
You
I
don't need
think
to
it's so fun.
explain nothing.
But you're right. I think it's because it's the language that we use, right? That's
Yeah,
how we refer to you. That's how we set it up. And so naturally everybody else just kind of followed with that.
yeah. Because we
Yeah.
started with us and then it just grew. Okay.
Yeah.
So why is it okay to say the wrong thing as long as you're open to learning? That's a great question. I feel like we touched on this, but let's add a little bit more to it. What do you want to say, Mom?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think it's the heart behind it, right? I think as long as like the other person knows that you have a heart that's caring, a heart that's loving, that that's not your intention, and just and be open about it. Say, hey, is that word okay? Is it okay to say that? But I think just say it and work on it. Ask if it offends them, and if it does, try to work on it or think before you say things. And I think it gets better. It gets easier. It gets more natural over time.
Yeah. It's amazing. That's amazing. Cause
That's what I
like,
think.
yeah, cause like I said, it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them and you keep in your mind. The thing about mistakes is the best way to not repeat a mistake is to always thinking about it, always improve it. Like one of my biggest things that I've learned about the work I do on social media and school is like the best way for me to learn is when I teach somebody or when I practice what I'm teaching. It's like I learn better when I teach or repeat something I've heard or done to somebody. Like I always learn something new. It's like, oh,
Mm.
like if I have the same conversation again with somebody else, I learn something. Or if I have the same conversation with 10 different people, I learn 10 different things. And that
Mhm.
like always reassures me. I'm like, what I'm thinking is right, or right, like I'm going in the right direction, or and I can retain stuff better. It stays in my head forever. So like I practice, I just speak what's on my mind to people. I teach. Even if I teach even when I don't know, just so I could get a better explanation of what I'm thinking.
Would you be your biggest advice for someone who has just freshly brought home a kid that's adopted, whether it's foster care, adoption? What would be your biggest advice of how they could speak to the adopted kid
First of all, if
or foster kid?
you just brought them in and you've been in an adoption process, I would say forget everything you know about them except their name as soon as you bring it to the house and completely figure out a new person. Because the person I was in Haiti and the person I was in that orphanage completely changed. Literally, the day I was in that house, seeing all these new things, like my whole brain got completely rewired. So I would say be ready for whatever comes in with the child, with the way you speak to them. Literally, I would go as far to say treat them as an infant and let
Yeah.
them grow with you because that's the best way to avoid a lot of the problems you're gonna face. Is like thinking you have the same kid you just pulled out of whatever situation you just had them in. But that's what I
No,
like to
I
say
agree.
for that.
That's very good, right? I think that's no matter whatever situation that kid came from, no matter how old they are, got to start over like an infant.
Yeah,
That's really
start
good.
from scratch. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Good. That's good advice. Good job, son. Good job, son. I'm so proud of you. Good job. I'm so proud of you. You're
Thank you.
amazing.
You
You're
know.
amazing.
Okay, but
Look at you.
look at me glow. Okay,
You're
so
so amazing.
so that's really it for me. I'm gonna wrap up here. Or do
Okay.
you want to say anything? Want to say goodbye?
Well, I mean, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you giving us a space to grow and learn and walk through some of this stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to be real. We don't want to sit here and pretend
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
either A, we have it together, or B, things are always perfect for us because they weren't. But we're open. We want to be vulnerable and share, kind of our experiences in hopes that maybe you can resonate. Maybe you're not, maybe you don't have an adopted child, but maybe you're a parent or you're a friend. And I think some of this stuff can help with any kind of relationship that you have with anybody in your life.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say. But that's awesome. I agree with everything you just
Okay.
said. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so
Yes.
much for watching the Adoptology. Tune in next time. This episode will be posted soon. It's actually already posted now. But anyways, goodbye, y'all. Okay.
Bye.